I decided I must go into business because I realized I must do something with this precious life. I realized that I have only one chance to live. These are the words of businessman and serial entrepreneur Herman Mashaba. Today we speak to the founder of Black Like Me and many other companies, Herman Mashaba, about South Africa, the economy, politics, and business. Herman Mashaba, let's continue our conversation. Let me start with unemployment in South Africa. How do we fix it? You've written in the past about the fact that we have 8.3 million people who don't have jobs as we sit here today.
In fact, this matter, this issue really hurts me every day. These are some of the things that makes me wake up at night, in the middle of the night. And I really look at my privileged position as a South African, being given this privilege by our environment, and really looking at this high unemployment rate in our country. What I've really decided I will really do through the Free Market Foundation, really use my family's money to actually, the next 2 to 3 years, really, I'd like to really see the labor legislation in this country being put in such a way that it can allow the 8.5 million South Africans be given an opportunity to work. At the same time, make sure that I think we can allow small businesses, like how I started Black Like Me in 1985. I'd like to really have that environment where we've got to really stop the labor legislation, destroy small businesses every day.
Tell us a bit about how you started that and why you believe that you managed to succeed despite the odds, despite apartheid legislation.
You see what happened, I look at really how I started my business in 1985. I conceived the idea in 1984, put together a group of like-minded South Africans, including one Afrikaner who, because I did not really have the technical know-how at the time to really start a manufacturing business, but there was a fellow South African who bought into my dream, and we started Black Like Me in a 200 square meter factory. And we'll employ one person, second person, and so forth. We were not paying people based on their own economic situation. We were paying them based on what we could afford. And I really look at the situation today over the last 20 years, 15 years in particular, how small businesses all over the country has been destroyed by bargaining council legislation. In fact, for me, Justice, I just don't understand South Africans. All of us as South Africans, honestly, I believe we've got to really take the responsibility for allowing this piece of legislation to really be in our statute book, where we allowed private actors, the big trade unions and big business to destroy small business. And I think we're happy about this.
We say capitalism will exploit the poor worker down there. Why don't you put a ceiling? As we're seeing now, there's a commission to look into a minimum wage. You're saying we shouldn't have a minimum wage?
Absolutely. What is the minimum wage to the 8.5 million unemployed South African? You know what, for me, I look at my own situation. Back in 1980, Justice, when I got employed by SPAR, I was earning 175 rands a month, working as a dispatch clerk. I can tell you, if anyone thought SPAR was exploiting me, made a terrible mistake, because I exploited that opportunity that I received. Because I wasn't happy with earning 175 rands a month. I wanted to earn 1 million rands a month, or a day for that matter. But I took that opportunity. That first job with SPAR gave me an opportunity to climb up the ladder. Because what happened, there was no government that could tell me whether I was not supposed to work for SPAR or not. Within the 7 months, managed to really get myself a second job, 100 rands more. Worked for another company for 23 months. I did not have a government that would tell me that I must work for this company for the rest of my life. I wanted to improve my life. But what happened is that first job gave me that opportunity to climb up the ladder. And that is something that, for me, it hurts me, because we're not allowing our poor South Africans to climb up the ladder. I come from Hammanskraal, born and brought up in a small village called Garamotse, Babelegi industrial area, exploiting our people. But you know what? I grew up in an environment where my sisters, every morning we used to wake up, go to work, and whatever, earning 3 rands a week from Kunluk, you know. But what happens is we had stability in our community. Every member of the community worked. The only people who did not work in my upbringing were those that did not want to work. But people really worked. And then what happened? Look at us now today. The people managed to really climb up the ladder. But then, because what is going to happen is, there are people who don't want to work, and there are people who want to work. And I don't believe it is unfair for legislators to regulate as if everybody wants to really work and deprive people to really climb up the ladder. And that is really what I'm calling.
So what do you think of the problems that are besetting COSATU now and the fact that it's splitting? Is this an opportunity to rewrite the laws, the LRA, for example?
Well, in fact, I think, what's happening with COSATU at the moment, it's really very unfortunate. And I think the reason why it is happening because even their own members were totally ignored the last few months, years, because people were really focused on their own political development and the development of the workers. So COSATU has played a very critical role in the past, and they have to still have a critical role to really play in the future. So it's really unfortunate that we're going to end up with a divided labor situation in our country, but it's obviously long-term good for our country. What we really need is that we need a government that can really be independent of labor. I don't know if, just as if you're aware about the Free Market Foundation Labor Law Challenge. I'm spending my family's money to give the powers to the Minister of Labor, who has the responsibility not only to unionize members. The Minister of Labor in this country has got a responsibility to including the 8.5 million South Africans unemployed. And I'm spending my money to help the Minister of Labor to be given the powers. In the event when these bargaining council agreements are signed, the Minister must first review whether these agreements are fair to everybody else outside the bargaining councils. The Minister of Labor is refusing to really be given that right. So that is really where the problem is. That really gives us an indication that the Minister of Labor's interest is not really with the unemployed. Her focus is only with the few employed South Africans. And actually not even the few employed South Africans, only the unionized ones.
If that is the case, then how do you change it? How are you going to change it if the minister doesn't want to take the laws, the powers that you want to have in the minister's hand?
That is why we at the Free Market Foundation, you're really wanting to really use the courts. I would really, honestly, I really want to really be in an open court of law one day with the Minister of Labor in this country. Tell this nation, tell the 8.5 million South Africans why she does not want to really have the powers to review these agreements before she extends them. So I think if we as South Africans are serious about this, let us use our legislative framework in changing the course of our future. So I really appeal to the parliamentarians who actually passed this piece of legislation to really go back to the drawing board and ensure that they give the powers to the Minister of Labor to also care and worry about the unemployed South Africans.
Let's talk. You started off talking a bit about race and how we're looking back and so forth. There are still organizations in South Africa, there's business organizations, some which seem to represent black interests, some which seem to represent white interests. There's NAFCOC, there's Black Business Leadership South Africa, there's BUSA, there's all kinds of organizations. Do you think these divisions in business are giving an opening to trade unions, government, other players to succeed where business doesn't seem to be getting its vote?
For me, it's really very unfortunate that 21 years into our democracy that we have to really have a black organization, white organizations, whatever organization. I think we're at a stage where we're supposed to really be running business organizations, representing business in South Africa. Because all of us are South Africans. What Mr. Nelson Mandela wanted to really create this rainbow nation. The issue that actually, as I said earlier on, won the hearts and minds of the world. If we fail to really create that, then we will forever be punished, and we will forever be blaming Jan van Riebeeck for that. Whereas we failing to take the responsibility and focus on the future. And that is really something that where I believe as a country we dismally failing. We failing the future of our children. Because honestly, I owe it to my children and their children to really be South Africans regardless of their race or color.
You recently joined the Democratic Alliance. What's next for you? Is it a path into politics? Are you going to run for Mayor of Johannesburg or Premier of Gauteng or for Parliament?
It's very interesting. I think just as you're aware, immediately after, when I joined the Democratic Alliance, as a member for the first time in my life, I issued a press statement, and every media, including your particular organization, interviewed me about this. I said I would really wanted to really change the course of history in our country in terms of allowing our democracy to be matured, because I'm an adult of this country. And for me to really belong to any party of my choice, I don't really see any reason why it should really be a secret. I have really been voting for the Democratic Alliance. Are they perfect? Absolutely not. But fortunately enough, I don't look for perfections in political parties. What I do is I look for political parties that are closer to my own value system than that. And that's really precisely the reason why I believe, for me, looking at all the political parties, the Democratic Alliance comes closer to my value system as a South African. They are the ones that I believe can really create the future for them, for my children and their children.
Herman Mashaba, you're very passionate about this issue. I look forward to seeing you on the stumps in 2016 or 2019. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
After the break, our winner and loser of the week.